love history.
Did your wife keep her maiden name?
Man, I tried to call you. Did you change your number? What you wearing? You smell good. Thank you. Muchos thank you.
It's our first installment of this Hot Stove season's Pen is Mightier, and for it we welcome our friend Anthony Castrovince from MLB.com. And every once in a while, Anthony, we promise a writer coming on with a hot take. You have some very hot takes and kind of an exclusive hit for us here, because this piece that you've written for MLB.com doesn't even post for another couple of days, and you're going to suggest something that would probably offend a few when you say that the Yankees may be better off if they let Juan Soto go somewhere else.
What?
Explain this, young man.
Now, look, I'm not a lunatic. I know in all things being equal, you'd rather just have Juan Soto on your ball club. I get it. But if you're not going to do, the major financial luxury tax long-term implications it takes to do that and improve some very clear deficiencies on that Yankees roster, then I would be inclined to spend my money in other ways, to spread it around in other ways. So, for instance, this is very much like barroom, back of the napkin mathematics and free agency wheeling and dealing. But let's just play this out. It's going to take $600 million, let's say, to sign Juan Soto. Well, for about $400 million, I can get you Alex Bregman at third base, Willie Adames at second base, Christian Walker at first base. I can move Jazz Chisholm to center field. I can get Aaron Judge out of center field and into right field where he belongs. He should not be in center field. He's 32 years old and a giant. He does not need that physical tax on his body. And right there, yes, you're losing Juan Soto. None of these guys are Juan Soto. Nobody is Juan Soto but Juan Soto. But I would consider that a deeper lineup, a more defensively sound ball club, and perhaps a better ball club in the long run. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, you can't really argue the better defensive look with the aforementioned group. That's an interesting thing to consider. Let's move forward in what you're about to release to the reading public later on this week. I want to skip ahead to what you have to say about Brent Rooker. Look, the A's, the Sacramento thing, whatever that might look like, Rooker was great last year for them. He had some real interest by pursuing teams at the trade deadline. He's no longer a below-the-radar guy. Three years of control left. He's ARB eligible this year, and you're suggesting maybe the A's could return something for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if the casual fan realizes exactly how good Brent Rooker was. Obviously Shohei Ohtani, the 50-50 season from the DH spot, that tends to get people's attention. Rooker's in Oakland, and he had a top 20 season by OPS plus for a designated hitter. That's how good he was. He's 30 years old. He's a first-time arbitration eligible. This market is light on impact bats beyond Juan Soto. So, David Forst said, we're not trading Brent Rooker, and I understand. I mean, this is a centerpiece for them, but is he going to be part of the next great A's team? They were 500 in the second half, and maybe they'll be frisky next year, but they're in this really obviously bizarre situation with, playing in Sacramento for the foreseeable future. And the bizarre benefit of that is you don't have to worry about upsetting your fan base, right? I understand Mason Miller is, long-term contractual control. You don't want to deal him. I get it, but Brent Rooker is, he's entering arbitration, 30 years old, coming off an incredible season. I'd be inclined to explore that market personally.
Interesting. I want to get to Jordan Montgomery, who also appears in your upcoming column that'll post later on this week on MLB.com. He had has a player option for 2025, correct me if I'm wrong, at about $22.5 million. Not a small number. What is his exact contract status, and what do you think should happen in his relationship with the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, they signed him to the one-year deal at the end of spring training last year. It had the player option attached to it, and it was a disastrous deal this past season. He had an ERA over 6, just never got on track. The typical late report. Like I said, signed at the very end of camp, so he was just never right. And oh, by the way, he was also coming off an extended season, pitching into the World Series with the Rangers, and that whole staff was the same thing. They pitched deep into 2023, and what could have been a very good starting staff really wasn't. So now you're in this uncomfortable situation because their owner, Ken Kendrick, came out and said, this was a gigantic mistake. It was my fault. I pushed for the front office to sign Jordan Montgomery. He was terrible. And that's awkward. So Jordan Montgomery picks up, it's $22.5 million sitting there. So Jordan Montgomery said, I'll take that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I don't mind the awkwardness. So there's all the speculation in the air that the D-backs are going to have to trade Jordan Montgomery because of this uncomfortable situation. But I would just say, we're all uncomfortable. We're all upset with each other in the country right now. So you can work this out. You can deal with this. Why would you sell low on Jordan Montgomery coming off a clear outlier in his career, a season where, again, he had the late start? I would be inclined to put your heads together to figure out what is going to work for him moving forward. Try to make the most of this situation. They have 6 starters, but that's true until it's not. Guys get hurt. Guys don't perform, et cetera. I would go into the season with the rotation depth that the D-backs have because I think they're a clear candidate to bounce back in 2024.
Boy, I agree strongly with all that. Great points on all fronts on Montgomery, because I still remember the guy who dominated at the end of 2022 and particularly at the end of 2023, more so than the guy who got off to a late start and wasn't as effective last year. That guy is still in Jordan Montgomery. Hey, last thing we want to hit on you. Al and I were just talking about Anthony Santander and how important he is to bring to return in Baltimore. You'll make the case in this piece that you're going to crack open for us later on in the week that the Orioles have to be all in on more than just that player.
Yeah, I really think so. I don't expect them to be the biggest spenders or anything like that. I mean, whoever signs Juan Soto would probably be the biggest spender, it would appear. And that won't be the Orioles. But, man, I mean, this team has got to take the next step into truly elite status. 2 playoff runs, and both of them, they fell flat in the first round in October. They made the big play for Corbin Burns last winter, but I would say they came up short in each of the last 2 trade deadlines. And this past one, I understand it was a market light on starting pitching. They were able to get Zach Eflin, who was very good for them, so they made the most of a light situation. But you'll forever wonder, could they, if they had put Jackson Holliday on the table, do the Tigers really walk away for that? For Terry Skubal? I don't know. None of us will know. But maybe there were opportunities to do something more. But man, they got to do it this winter. Corbin Burns is a free agent. Anthony Santander is a free agent. Just re-signing those guys would be huge, but there's other ways you could do it. You could recoup the draft pick compensation for Burns and, go out and sign a Blake Snell, trade for Garrett Crochet, whatever it takes. I mean, that farm system is deep, and they've got a very good young core. We all know that, but, it's going to get more expensive down the line. It's hard to keep teams together. Guys don't always perform as the stars we think they're going to be. I always think about the 2016 Cubs, and we thought, oh, it's the beginning of a dynasty. That did not turn out to be the case. So you don't know how many bites at the apple you're going to get with a particular window, a particular core. And I think the Orioles got to maximize this one with new ownership, but still deep farm system. They should be able to do some things this winter. Very
intriguing stuff from one of our favorites, Anthony Castrovince. And this piece will drop, as the kids say, on MLB.com later on this week. Anthony, thanks, man.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you.